off. So USD, I'm still pretty bullish with this one. I think we have had a bit of upside, but not much really. Yeah, we had a slight push. I think that was just before New Year, not New Year, sorry, before Christmas Eve, and then since then just been pretty flat. So yeah, still waiting for momentum to pick up here. Like I said, it might not be till after next week really, so you could see a bit more sideways. Maybe do see price kind of break out a little bit, but I won't expect anything crazy. Might break back in, so do kind of expect a bit of that as we go on the next few days. But overall, dollar still doing what I'm looking for, or at least it hasn't changed. I'm still looking for the break of the high which we got. And then I said this looks like a nice place for a pullback in towards, and price to retest, find that next higher low, and be on our way to see some more upside. Because if this is a big breakout for DXY, which looks like it is, then I could be looking at a big push back to 113, 114, which is that massive swing high over there on the weekly chart. So essentially, I'm looking for the break of this resistance, which looks like it's happening. And if we do really break through that and stay above that, and then push back to 113, 113.5 is where I'm looking for dollar to get towards. So that's where the bullish bias comes from. And of course, looking at the 4-hour chart, we are seeing higher highs and higher lows. So as long as we remain in that manner, remain in that structure, we probably are going to see price continue to the upside. So this still remains a really nice area of value. Should we see a bit of a pullback, I would be expecting upside. This could be the higher low that does push to the upside as well, but I would like that deeper pullback for USD. But overall, I am favoring more upside there for the dollar. Taking that information into EURUSD, similar situation where, again, I'm not quite sold on the breakout there for Euro just yet. Again, if DXY is going to break through that resistance at 107 and break towards 113, then you're probably going to expect Euro to do the opposite, which is break through this low at 1.05 more or less, and push back to the swing low here at 0.96. So that's kind of what I'm expecting for Euro if we see dollar make that same move. However, at the moment, it's still a little bit half-hearted, still seeing some wicks to the downside here, which is not really the best sign for a breakout. You want to see confident candle closures, big candle closures, and sustained momentum. We haven't really got that yet for Euro. I do think that's probably still the likely move since we're trading below, but I'm kind of waiting still for that weekly selling pressure to really kick in. Below that low, that is, because we've already had a big drop, but hasn't broken through key support just yet. If you do see more downside and a close like this in the next 2-3 weeks, then yeah, I do think Euro is going to come all the way back down to 0.96, and that hopefully at that point we've got a nice trend like we had in 2022 forming. I'm just looking at shorting the pullbacks, finding those lower highs, and trying to swing as much as possible Euro to the downside. But on the lower time frames, more intraday, I think there's still some shorts to be taken advantage of. We've got this wick low, which I think price is likely to go and take out. And we do have some areas just above us, which I do think look good for some shorts. Similar to DXY in terms of dollar, I'm looking for a pullback and then some buys. So dollar, I'm looking for a pullback to this area and then some buys to the upside. With Euro, I'm looking at the opposite, looking at move up for a move down. So a push to this zone, retest, see some lower highs, and of course, a continuation to the downside. So Euro and dollar are pretty much in sync in my regard. In terms of the higher time frame, still want a little bit more before I suggest I'm looking for that big push to 113 or the big sell on Euro to 0.96. I'm waiting a little bit more on the higher time frames, but intra-week, I think the sell is still good. Still seeing a lot of momentum there for Euro to the downside. Overall, the trend is still down. So if you are looking to get involved with Euro, I think shorts are still your best bet. Not necessarily to capture a massive move, but we are likely to bounce off these areas and catch some nice reactions. So yeah, Euro 1.046, where we got this level out. We just missed it last week. It would be nice for price to come back, retest that, and see some downside. And yeah, targets back at the swing low makes a load of sense. And potentially you could even take out this wick low there as well. But overall, Euro expecting more downside. Keep an eye for 1.046. In terms of pound USD, overall for this one, same situation, but we haven't broke through key support. I did say for pound, I like the sales, but we need to break through this low here first. So I'm looking for something like this, break the low, then looking for the next pullback, and then more continuations. There is some daily support just below us where I do think price could end up at, retesting this support, which lines up around just above 1.23. So again, that's what I'm expecting. If USD is going to be strong, there's a good chance pound USD is going to fall to the downside. So with pound, looking for this support level to break, just because this could be a big double bottom. Test it once pretty successfully. Nice move to the upside. We're there again. You know, there is that possibility for another big move there to the upside. So I'd watch out for that. But if pound USD keeps breaking the lows, and that does line up some really nice shorts there for a sell. Yeah, I'll look at that next swing low as a target. Or let's say if we break out and we put a low here, of course that could be a target as well. We can speak more when that situation does come around. But for now, pound USD, I am looking for some more downside for this one as well, below 1.25. In terms of dollar CAD, everything is still very bullish with dollar CAD as well. Of course, the past maybe couple of days, we haven't really been bullish. We've just been moving sideways. But the direction which I would like to trade dollar CAD is still firmly to the upside. Everything is still looking very, very bullish. I do think price can make it all the way to 1.46. That's the weekly chart. I do think price can make it all the way back to 1.46, which is a pretty big level in itself, 1.47. And we're not too far away. I do think that's where price is likely to end up at. I do think we have probably a good chance of a meaningful pullback before we do see the continuation. But overall, I do think dollar CAD is likely to keep pushing. This is the area which I would like to catch a retest on, but at the moment, not looking too likely. We've got some lovely bullish structure previously. We've got the high over there. You've got the high, low, high, next higher low. And again, that's our next higher high. So I would love a pullback to retest this structure. Maybe I'm asking for a lot from dollar CAD, but it lines up very well with the fib, with the 0.618. From the high to from the low to the high, you can see lovely confluence there as well. I think we do have another trend line confluence lining up there too. So it would be very nice if we were to get that bigger pullback to go test this area here at 1.415. And that would be a situation where if you do get that retracement, you do find some nice confirmations to enter a trade. It could be a situation where if you catch it right, you could just look to hold that all the way back to 1.46 and looking at a pretty big risk reward there as well. But nonetheless, dollar CAD still very bullish, so I'll keep an eye on that area, even though it maybe looks a bit unlikely we get there, but that's really where my confidence lies. I think in terms of the bit more intra-day time frames, like the hourly chart, I think the buys down here still look good because essentially USD CAD is ranging. But if we know that the bigger move is to the upside, it's always nice to buy at below the range rather than sell at the high, because you're kind of buying in anticipation that we may break out to the upside. So I would say if you're on the lower charts, I think a pushback down to 1.434 looks good. Get some buys there, take it back to the high of the range, around this area here. You can always leave some positions to run, sort of like what I'm doing with pound CHF, which I'll go through in a second. Kind of buying or selling the range, but anticipating that maybe the range will break out in your direction. I think some buys here look pretty good as well. A lot of rejection there, and possibly might catch a nice continuation. But overall, dollar CAD will keep an eye on 1.417. In terms of Aussie dollar, this one's still been pretty bearish. Kind of slowly kind of rolling over. I do think there's still more downside left for Aussie dollar. I think we're probably likely going to take out this wick low here. We do have the COVID lows down here, which probably price is looking to work its way towards. So if I really zoom out, I think that's where price long term is headed towards. But of course, we'll chat about that another day because we are still very, very far away from that. But this is our more immediate level to focus on. It looks like price is just gonna just slowly roll over there. Again, with Aussie dollar, we're due a bounce, we're due a bit of a pullback at some point. The market's not going to keep falling forever, even though I do expect to get to COVID lows. It will kind of pull back at some point. Yeah, I only would expect more downside until we get there, and then we can start talking about potentially a big bounce. I did say a couple of days ago some shorts of the retest of this area or retest of this area would be nice for a sell, but yeah, doesn't look like we're getting that. Of course, keep an eye out to see if we do, but yeah, price is looking like it just slowly slipping to the downside there. And going to hit that 0.618 area. I think New Zealand dollar is doing the same thing. Yeah, more or less kind of a slow slip to the downside, but I still like the areas up here. And I do think New Zealand dollar's got a bit more juice to the downside So I'm looking at 0.555, which is still down here, so still got a bit of a way to go. So yeah, if you can get some pullbacks, it'd be nice if you can retest this low over there as well. Get some pullbacks for New Zealand dollar, get some pullbacks for Aussie dollar. I do think there's still a bit more downside to get involved with and take some shorts. In terms of gold, yeah, a bit of upside. I think it's still a nice place for a short, to be honest. Not the biggest fan of the price action for gold, but I do think the shorts do look good here. We're still seeing a very corrective move. First high, second high, third high. I do think we can spill over and see a push back into the lows here, which is around 25.84, and possibly a push back to the lows there as well. So still pretty bearish with gold, pretty bullish with USD. So that kind of comes hand in hand a little bit. Yeah, I would say hourly chart still looks pretty good for some shorts. And then silver, I think we're doing something similar as well. Head to the 4-hour time frame. So yeah, still looking like a short as well, coming back into these areas. Tag that area, see the next lower high. I do think there's a good chance we do sell off back into the low at 28.8. Still longer term, very bullish, of course, on gold and silver, but just not ready to be bought yet, at least according to my analysis. I think there's still a bit more downside left before we do get those bigger buys. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD.